Welcome to Successful Parenting, where we, Jackie Rue and Robin Choquette, share practical skills for families to build resilience and healthy connections. As practicing professionals and parents ourselves, we hope this podcast is a resource for parents to grow, reflect, and learn more about themselves and their children. Our approach is simple, tangible, and most importantly, we lead with compassion for the integrity of the families we serve. This podcast should not be taken as medical advice and is intended for informational purposes only. We love our work, and we can't wait to watch families gain confidence and open themselves up to new ways of successful parenting.
Hello, Robin.
Hey, Jackie, how are you doing today?
Good. I'm excited for our podcast today. I've been, doing some research. This topic's one I'm excited to learn about.
Yes.
When we talk about little children and I reflect back on my own girls, I think about how when they were young, I think you know this, they both learned a second language by the time they were 3 years old.
Mm-hmm.
They were fluent. And part of it is, unfortunately, they do not still have that language, that second language. They know a little bit. But what I noticed about them when they were little is they picked up things so quickly. And we were living in another country. They were like sponges and they just became fluent so fast.
Mm-hmm.
It's so interesting to me how younger children and babies, toddlers, just how they absorb information really and adapt to their environments.
Mm-hmm. One of my daughters definitely used sign language, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. And my niece, in fact, I was just texting with her recently, and we were talking about her son and how her actually child care provider is the one that really brought this to them. And it's interesting. They have a bilingual family. And so I think it's a really great thing. And more people are trying to use it. Our guest today is really going to help us kind of understand it and really support families when they are using it and maybe even get involved and understanding how to use it. So let me tell you a little bit about our guest, Jackie. Dr. Leit, she is a pediatric communication advocate. Her main focus is baby sign language, and not just the signs, but also, like you and I talk a lot about, fostering healthy communication between children and adults, as well as expressing feelings. She started signing with her daughter in 2004 and then founded Sign Shine to teach essential parenting skills to young minds growing in a healthy way. And I just love that. What she says here in her bio. She holds a PhD in positive and transpersonal psychology. She earned a master's in leadership and education from Pepperdine. She's actively researching communication, especially in the context of the AI world, which I think is so interesting. She's authored 3 books. Her latest is featured in Barnes & Noble's book signing. She has been profiled by various media outlets, including NBC, CNN, WeTV, and Style Magazine. She has thousands of clients, many who are high profile in the Beverly Hills area. She's guest starred on several mainstream podcasts and has trained thousands of parents and early childhood educators from all different walks of life, from the U.S. Air Force at UCLA, Pepperdine University, just so many. I did actually get to see a clip. I went out to YouTube and she was a guest on a show that my daughters loved, was Tia and Tamara. So super excited to welcome Dr. Leit. Hello, Dr. Leit.
Hi, Robin. Hi, Jackie. I am so
Hello.
excited to be on your show.
Yes.
We're excited to have you too. And I'm just excited to learn more about this. Sometimes I think sign language can be intimidating, but I think it sounds like it doesn't have to be so intimidating. Excited just to have you here and hear all the things that you have to share.
Yes.
Thank you. Yes, it's interesting that you started with the word intimidating, because some parents really wants to do it and they don't know how or how to start. And then I know we're going to talk about it because I always talk about it in every podcast. They learn the signs we shouldn't, but it's so easy. We all communicate through sign language, right? Think about when you want to say goodbye to someone in the airport. What do?
You wave.
You wave your hand, right? That's sign language. As simple as it is, that's sign language. We sign all day long.
Yes.
We're not really aware of it, right?
Right. Right. And we do that with our animals. I mean, that's part of those commands with our dogs when you're training, is you're using hand language as well. So I think it's so interesting. Well, we're just so excited to have you here, Dr. Leit, and excited for you to share with our listeners. Can you tell us about your background? I can really get the sense of passion you have for helping families. Can you tell us about You?
Yes, absolutely. So, as I shared with you before, I call myself the Holy Chick. I was born in Jerusalem. I know 4 language and a half. So it's Hebrew, my native language, Arabic, English, sign language, and Spanglish, if you'd say that's the
Okay.
half. And
Okay.
when I was pregnant with my daughter, my background before was to teach languages. I taught Hebrew at several universities and I wrote curriculum. And I was pregnant with my daughter. I thought to myself, what language from all these vast languages will I speak with her? How would I communicate with her? And I was doing the research. I love doing research. And I found what is called baby sign language. Now, mind you, that was 20 years ago. So
Okay.
people told me, no, don't do it. Your daughter is not deaf. She will not ever speak if you do baby sign language with her. But I'm a little stubborn. And I decided I will do it with her. And it was just magic. I decided to do baby sign language and Hebrew and English. So by the age of 2.5, she was fluent in 3 languages. She could tell us what
Wow.
she wants and need in 3 languages.
Wow.
When she didn't have the words to say it verbally, and we're going to talk about it in a second, she could still say her need and her wants in a different way, which is hand movement. And that reduced frustration. That created so much bond between us. And let me tell you, not only that she didn't speak, until today, she speaks a lot. Her verbal communication was one of her greatest assets. Because what happened, her brain just learned communication in a different way. Instead of waiting and lingering it until her muscles in her mouth will be produced, her brain was already communicating. And this is the beautiful part about baby sign language. So they can communicate, although that they cannot really use their verbal cues.
That makes so much sense.
That's interesting. And it's fascinating. And I'm guessing, like I was saying earlier with my daughters, I mean, babies, pick it up so quickly. And
Mhm.
it sounds like it's not just for babies, correct?
Absolutely. But let's start with why babies pick it up so quickly, right? There is one sign that all babies throughout the world, not only English or Hebrew or French or Spanish speaking, the one sign that all babies sign, do you know what it is, Robin and Jackie?
Hello?
Even before hello? Because hello, we kind of like teach our children. It's an intuitive sign.
I almost think like the mouth.
It's actually the sign for pick me up. When a baby wants to be picked up,
Oh,
what do?
their hands, they kind of,
Yes.
yeah.
Towards you, right? And
Yes.
that's a sign that they learn because you do it. Every time you want to pick up your child, when you have a baby, what do? You reach
Yes.
out with your hands towards the baby and they learn, oh, that means pick me up.
Yes.
So every time a baby wants to be picked up, no matter where in the world, they raise their hands towards the person that want them to lift you. And that's the magic of baby sign language. It's something that is being taught naturally and it connects to the brain of like, what do I really want? What do I need? I need to be picked up. That's what I'm going to do with my hands. And absolutely, Robin, then waving the hands and doing the mouth. But first is pick me up because it's come
Okay.
from the need. We say start with a sign that the child needs. And then, as you said, we are really enforcing or making sure that our little ones will grow to understand what they want and need. I have in my practice also adults, and when I ask almost every adult, what do you really want? It takes some time to answer. Most adults do not want what they want because I call it the muscle. This muscle was not developed. Like to hold, to pause and say, what do you want? What do you need? So when we train babies and then toddlers, right, to
Mm-hmm.
be specify what they want and need, that's the gift of real baby sign language. Okay? We can talk so much. Definitely it's communication and saying what you want, milk or water or change the diaper or music or bowl. But behind all of it comes the stem of real communication when I know what I want from you. Isn't that a magic? I don't blame you. I
Yeah.
know what I want. You don't need to solve
Yeah.
my problems. I know what I want.
Right. It's that pause and then expression versus that just reactive, which the emotional piece is so primitive, right?
Yes.
So quick to happen. And we see people who are really reactive and emotionally reactive. And so what we're giving them is that opportunity to learn at an early age, the pause, the reflection, and express. Did I get that right?
Yes, I
Okay.
absolutely love what you just said. Exactly. Instead of reacting, responding and listening to within, what do I want? And therefore, when a child is signing, there is less tantrums and less frustration, right? Somebody understood me. Oh, I wanted milk. I didn't need to cry. I didn't need to point forever. You know, the scenario of a toddler standing in front of a pantry and they don't even know what they want. And what do? This with their finger.
Yes.
And then starts this game. No, no, no. Okay, this, no, 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 this. And that's the this game. I call it the this game, right? This on that, this on that. When all of that can be so magically beautiful when you teach goldfish, cracker, what exactly do you want? And you teach this beautiful communication instead of crying and demanding. And as you said, I love what you just said, being in a reactive mode rather than like, okay, let's pause, see what you want.
Well, and it probably helps reduce parents feeling really frustrated and like maybe yelling or, reacting when they're slowing down a little bit to kind of think about, what the child needs and what their response should be, right?
Exactly. And also, avoiding. So sometimes parents are so frustrated, like you said, that they're avoiding, like, okay, you tell me when you tell me when you want what you want, or not now. That also another stressful part of the parents when they just don't understand what the baby wants to say. But let's go one step backwards and say, so how come children cannot really say when they're born what they want? Because a child knows, that they want milk or the diaper is wet. There is this understanding. How come they don't say my diaper is wet or milk now? How come that doesn't come through? It's all muscle development. Some people think it's IQ. It doesn't have it cognitive. It has to do with muscle development. So in order to say any sound, we have to take out air from our diaphragm, right? And take it out from our mouth and stop it with one muscle in our mouth. For example, we stop it with the lips, right? Or shh, we stop it with our teeth, right? And now, can I do a little game with you, Robin and Jackie?
Sure.
Yes. Oh, I love the sure. Okay. So let's say na, N-A, na.
Na.
Now let's say n, just a sound for n. But close your nose now, pinch your nose, and say n. You can't. Why? The brain sends a message. In order to say the sound n, you have to take out the air not from your mouth, but from your nose. This is an insurance that, people don't even realize, I have to take the air and take it out from my nose in order to say n. That all these little things baby learns. So it's all about muscle development. All along, when baby knows that they want right now milk, but they can't really say it. So we are waiting until the age of about 16 months. This is the age of approximately average of words. We're waiting until the child can produce these words. When all along they can say milk and mommy and music and ball and doll and colors at the age of 6 months. So this gap is creating a lot of frustration. Can you imagine being in a foreign country? You would not be able to speak their language whatsoever. What would you do?
Right. There would be that frustration.
Get frustrated. Yeah. And then you go into primitive thinking like this and this and that instead of really, having conversation. What do you want? And that's why baby sign language is helpful.
Yes.
It's interesting. And do you feel like it impacts how they learn in school, maybe even like literacy skills and things like that? Have you done any kind of investigation into that?
I love it. So in my practice, I'm not stopping in the beginning words, which the words of needs, I call it the 3F signs. That's how I divide it, the 3F signs. So the first F is functional signs that are with all children, bowl, milk, everything that I just said, mommy, daddy, diaper. That's the F signs. The next one is the fun signs. So these are signs that kind of like for each family. One likes to play a ball, one music. Some people have cat. Some people have dog. And the last F is the feelings when we are going even further. So with all that, when we learn sign language, it starts with the alphabet. Many signs go with the alphabet. That's why I'm teaching colors really in the beginning. And if anybody wants to learn, I have it also on my social media, all the colors, because every color starts with a letter. So for example, blue, you sign blue with the letter B. And yellow, you sign with the letter Y. And pink, you sign with a P, and so forth. So at the early age, at the age of 6 or 8 months, babies learn the ABC. Amazing.
Yeah.
My babies in my practice actually spell their name at the age of 9 months. I have a certain game and a system that goes from one week to another that they can spell their name. When these babies go to preschool, instead of going to the cabbies because of their picture, they're going to the cabbies because they know how to read their name, which is amazing. They are exposed to the ABC and reading way before other children. It's natural. Such a beautiful thing. My heart smiles when I talk about it every time.
Yeah.
And this is why I tell parents, don't stop, don't sigh for signs and stop. Continue. It's beautiful. And the magic is that you learn something new with your child. How beautiful is that? In the AI world, we are not the parents that know it all anymore. We learn with our children.
Yeah. It's the journey. And I think that's a huge piece of parenting is the journey. If we're open to that and we learn so much as they are learning and we talk to them about it, I think their mindset and how they filter the rest of their life is this opportunity to learning, to grow.
Yeah.
And I think that is such an important piece of it. I really like that.
And how beautiful is the communication between a child and a parent. This bond. My parent understood me. I'm being heard.
Yeah.
The base for real, true, loving relationship.
Well, and it's also something special they have together, which is kind of cool too. And so often that makes it even more special that parents are putting forth the effort to kind of be able to have this language with their child.
As I shared with you, my kids are 17 and 20. I can't believe it. And we still sign to each other sometimes. Like for sure, we would sign I love you if we leave or we're in the airport or somebody's like, we sign I love you still. And we have some fun signs that or if we're in a public place and one of us needs to go to the bathroom, we don't interrupt each other. We just sign the sign for bathroom. And I love doing it with toddlers, by the way, because toddlers, when you ask a toddler, do you need to go to the bathroom? The immediate answer will be what?
No.
No. Even if they want, if they need, they won't say in front of other people, right? But there was this secret language, and you like when a parent can say, "I'm going to the bathroom," or "Do you need to go to the bathroom?" That's just like okay, we don't need to announce it in front of aunties and uncles.
We can just do it. Yeah. It really builds that bond. And that's something Jackie and I talk a lot about, building those bonds between parents and children and the importance of that. And what I heard you talking about was the real validation that kids are getting in this of my parents are hearing me, my parents are understanding at this very young age, because that is something I see so often coming into my office, teenagers saying they just are not hearing me. They don't get me. And that's sometimes true. It's sometimes though, it's just a miscommunication, but I would imagine this bond and this foundation just helps to increase that growth of how do we communicate? How do we understand each other? And really that expression of emotion, which is so important.
Yes.
And I really like what you're saying here. Can you speak a little bit more about decreasing that frustration and how signing really help, children development?
Absolutely. So in my program, I emphasize on feelings. We go through all the feelings and we teach how to sign them because the child does have understanding of what they're feeling, but they don't know how to express it. Sometimes like an adult. And this class, by the way, the parents love even more than the children. Some of them, it's the first time that they're like, oh, there is frustrated and there is shy and there is worried and there is struggling. And do you need help? Part of the feelings I teach the sign for help. And just like you said in the beginning, Robin, like pause and express not what I want, but what do I feel? It's not only good and bad, happy and sad. There is so many more feelings. I'm happy. I'm excited. Okay. I'm elated. I'm sick, and then the parents come and say, are you frustrated? And these little kids, frustrated, they say, I'm frustrated. And then there is beautiful moment between an adult and a child, just accepting the feeling. No need to fix anything. No need to do something. No need to say, no, you're okay. You're okay. That's what we do with babies. You're okay. Just hold it and say, oh, you're frustrated because so-and-so took your toy or whatever it is. Just hold it. That's such a beautiful thing that we give parents and children through signing. I love also signing because, of course, as you know, in time of stress, the first thing that we lose is hearing. So let's say you're late, you're getting out of your home and, with a bag and a baby, and you know that you're late to pediatrician. I'm just giving kind of like a scenario. And all of a sudden your husband calls you and talks to you about a dinner in a week in your mother-in-law's house. The last thing that we want to do is we can't really listen.
Right.
We're like, yeah, I can hear you, right? That's why when children are in time of stress, when they're crying, when they're sad, when they're frustrated, they can't really hear you, but they can see you. right? They can see you very clearly. And when you sign with them, they can see what you sign. And that already makes them more calmer. Oh, you get me. You know that I'm frustrated. You're holding a space for my emotions. And by the way, this is a really excellent place to say that I never only sign. With hearing children, it's always signing and speaking. Signing doesn't come instead of speaking, it's just enhance it. So when you
Okay.
sign, you always speak. When you sign milk, you say milk, milk, and so forth. So with feelings, your child hear you speaking, but they're not really listening because they're in distress, but they can see you still signing the sign. Oh, you understand me, right? How
Mm.
beautiful if partners can do it with each other. I'm just joking.
But what do you think? That would be such a great
Yeah.
for partners to have. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like, Dr. Light, there's any obstacles for parents or, areas you see parents struggle, or would you say there's any must signs that or places where families can start if they're feeling a little bit overwhelmed or intimidated but want to try this?
Yes, great question. So let's start with what not to do, okay, if you allow me, because I see it
Okay.
on social media over and over again. Our Instagram account is really big, also YouTube. I know, Robin, you watched it. And there is one sign that I actually recommend do not sign it, and I'll explain why. It's the sign more. Someone, in the vast of social media started signing more. And now parents are signing more with their children because it's easy. It can be done for anything. But let's say if I'm signing milk, what did the child want? Milk, right? If I'm signing water, what do I want to give the child or what the child wants? Water. But if I'm signing more, what does exactly the child want or need? Or what am I offering?
Oh,
More.
more of what?
More of what? It's exactly like pointing and it's exactly like crying. Okay? You can guess what they want, exactly like crying, exactly like pointing, but then we're really missing the real goal of signing. Because the real goal of signing, as we said, is expressing your needs and goals. So the sign more, please do not sign it. I say until the child is already signing about 5 or 10 signs. So you can sign more milk, more blueberries, more music, more game time. So then there are context of 2 words together. This is really great when children start signing 2 words together. So as I said earlier, remember the 3 F signs? Start with the first F. Start with functional signs. Signs that they see and they need. For example, milk. Milk is a great sign to start with because usually babies and toddlers have like at least 5 times a day milk. It's a concrete sign. I want milk. Like, oh, okay. Then you go into bowl or things that if you have a cat, it's a great sign to sign. If you have a dog, it's an amazing sign to sign. Whatever they see a lot and use a lot, these are the beginner signs. Start to use them. It's really, really easy. And repeat them and remember, always say verbally the word as you sign it. You're creating pathways in the brain to not only understand what it is, but also say it when the muscles are developed. But do not sign more. Please do not sign more. I call it no more.
No more. Okay. So you had functional sign. One was fun. Am I
So
right? The
we
3
start with
F's.
functional, then the
Okay.
fun. Fun is something that is different between every household. For example, cat or dog or music. Some people are musicians. And the last one are feelings.
Feelings.
My
Okay.
favorite. Yes.
Yes.
This is so cool. I mean, the way you explained it makes so much sense and it makes it seem so much more manageable, I think, than I thought. I already have a few parents that I want to share this with that have little ones that have just shared with me. They're really concerned about their little ones get frustrated and then they have tantrums and they don't know why they're upset. And so I think this could be an answer for some of them.
Yes. And can I share with you one cool fact that actually dads love? Because the dads love it. Usually dads are left brain, not always. Many,
Okay.
dads are right brain, but usually it's left brain. So let me share with you. I just actually told you the answer, but what comes first? Language or speech?
Well, given what you had said, I would say language.
Exactly, language. When you hold a baby, the first time you meet them, it doesn't matter if, it's biological or not. The first time you hold your baby, boom, that's language. You look at their eyes, they look at you, and there is a whole conversation. Baby says, "Oh, mommy, that was you that complaining." Mommy looks at it, "Oh my God, I love you so much," and so forth. That's language. And that's how we develop communication between 2, 3 people through our eyes, through our body language. And only then comes speech, exactly as I explained. You have to develop your muscles in order to create sounds, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now that we know that, language comes from the left or right side of the brain. I'm going to give you a hint. Language,
Left.
left, yes. Language comes from the left side of the brain. And I'm not talking about creative language, like creative writing. I'm talking about language, like words, grammar, syntax. All of it comes to the left side of the brain because it's logic. It's something that, like anything that has logic is left. Anything that is creative or visual is right. Right? So language comes from the left side of the brain. What happens to sign language? It's a language, but it's also creative and visual. What side of the brain is activated when we use baby sign language?
The right.
Both. It's a language
Huh?
and it's visual. So what happens? The synapses in the brain, this is how baby's brain is growing, and actually our brain as well, but usually 0 to 5. Many synapses in the brain are created. So what happens when you sign with your child, baby's signing left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. And that's why they actually found fascinating research that they took babies who were signing and babies not signing, and they found out that the age of 8, babies who were signing, they have higher IQ of 12 points. It's unbelievable.
Wow.
IQ higher in 12 points, which is significant. Now, I'm not saying to people sign because of the higher IQ. I'm just explaining the process because you're creating stimuli to the brain, not only to one side, like music is one side, speaking is one side. At the same time, right, left, right, left, right, left. How beautiful is that, right?
Yes.
So it's another reason to sign. Yeah. And dads love it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's creating those pathways at such a early time. Well, Dr. Leit, thank you so much. I think we're here at the end. Jackie, do you have any other questions before I ask?
I don't. This is interesting. I really like this. I like this conversation that we had today.
Oh, thank you.
I could see us having a little more. I'd like to know more about AI. Maybe we can have you back and talk a little bit about that because it sounds like there's a lot that you're doing there as well. So Dr. Leit, here are 3 questions that we ask every guest. You may choose to answer 1, 2, or all 3. It's your choice. Let me read those questions. Number 1, what did you do as a child or teenager that would drive your parents crazy? Number 2, what is the biggest difference between children and teenagers today and when you grew up? And then number 3, what does successful parenting mean to you?
Okay, so let's delve. Number 1,
Okay.
I really didn't do anything that drove my parents crazy. I know it's a cliche. I actually wrote my 3rd book about it. It's called Unaddicted to You. My parents drove me crazy, definitely. Yeah, I was a young parent. I parented my parents.
Okay.
Number 2, and I love this question. The biggest difference between children, teenagers today and when I grew up. And let's delve a little bit because it's exactly what you talked about. It's the AI. It's actually my 4th book that was just published on February 2nd. It's about communicating. It's called The Emotional Code. So parenting is changing as we speak, Robin and Jackie. Think about you when you wanted to know any information. Who did you go when you were children, when you were kids? Who did you go to?
My parents, or they would usually send me to the encyclopedias.
Exactly. We went to either a caregiver or we went to the teacher and encyclopedia. We went to somewhere else. What are our kids doing when they want to know something new today?
Do they go online, the internet?
Yeah, they don't even do that. That's previous generation. They ask Siri, what is boom?
Oh, that is
That's it.
true.
Yeah, they don't even wait. I mean, the sense of waiting for an answer doesn't exist anymore. So they don't do that. They get the answer right away. With ChatGPT, it's actually amazing. I'm teaching at university and my students are allowed to use AI and I support of it. I mean, previous generation don't. So what happens is parenting is changing because all of a sudden parents, when they need to know how to operate ChatGPT or the computer or something, who do they go to? Their children.
Children, yes.
So children are the source of knowledge all of a sudden. So you see how the roles are changing?
Yes.
There's no more, I'm going to my parent to ask a question because my parent for sure is not going to know that. I'm going to go to Siri. Or my parent is going to come and ask me for knowledge
Mm-hmm.
because of technology. So this is the main difference, I think, between parenting when I was a child and today. And this is the beginning. I'm so fascinated to see it. This is just the beginning. We have to embrace it.
Yes. When you said that, my grandchildren, it's interesting because they do come and ask me questions about things in the past. And then I come to them and they educate and tell me about things now.
Mm-hmm.
They call me Roma. Schooling Roma is what it is. So they're teaching me, and it's just so fascinating. And you're right. That's what they do. They turn and go, "Hey, Siri," and they ask their question and they get it immediately.
Yeah. Yeah, and the roles are changing and we have to embrace it. Parenting is changing. It's not what it used to be even 10 years ago. It's changing as we're speaking. I think that only in 3 years, we're actually going to see the implications of what's going on now. It's really new. And we do have to be flexible. That's number 3. What does successful parenting mean to you? To know that whatever you think is successful at the moment right now is changing.
Mm-hmm.
They're growing. We are changing. I'm not the same parent that I was to my firstborn and my secondborn. It's changing. Okay, pause, evaluate. And as you said, I love what you said, instead of react, respond to what it is now. And that's the beauty of any relationship.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And embrace that journey.
I wrote 4 books. The second one is a series of 5 books, children's book. When I wrote it, it's about a little fish that has a mom and a dad, and he asked them a lot of questions. When I concluded the book, I thought of myself, wow, but I have clients who are gay parents. Mm-hmm. So what about, daddy and papa and mommy and mommy? And I published 2 more books. And then a client said, so what about a single mom and a single dad?
Yeah.
So it's like you said, it's embracing the, the journey, what is. So now I have children's book in 5 versions that really matches to each family. We are a different family and let's accept it.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you taking time out to come and talk to us. I know you're super busy and we just really value all of this information. Listeners, we will have Dr. Leit's information, her website that you can certainly go to learn more. And thank you so much for being here today.
Yes, thank you. This is great.
Thank you so much, Robin and Jackie. Thank you.
Bye, Jackie.
Bye. Have a good day, everyone.
Thank you for joining us, and make sure to subscribe and like us to catch our next episode, where we will take you on a journey to find new ways of successful parenting.